Hello and welcome to Geography 473-673. This is the Spring 2021 installment of the Select Technical Topics that are Geography 473-673-016 and -017. A lot of numbers there. Basically, the two courses are Advanced R for Spatial Analysis and Visualization and Investigative Spatial Programming, which, because we are completely remote, has basically just turned into Introduction to Machine Learning with R. So this is the course GitHub. This is where all of the code is housed and every link that you need is provided. And this is not the only place where all the links are provided. We also have a course website, which I will send all of these links out to in an email just before the first day. But the course website needs to be updated. It's currently designed for the fall installment of this course. But once I have all of the videos and lecture recordings all finished up, we can proceed and I'll update the website. The one thing that is completely up to date is the course textbook. So right here, it's R for Geospatial Sciences. So this is a textbook that I created. This is for the spring installment. This is for both sections. So the 2-credit section, which is Advanced R for Spatial Analysis and Visualization, and the Investigative Spatial Programming, which, as I previously mentioned, is basically just machine learning with R now. And everything that you'll need is right here in this textbook. So we already have intro material done if you've taken the Intro to R section with me in fall 2020. And so we are getting started here all the way down here at number 10, which is plot customization. And what we're going to be running through for both sections of this course is 10 through 19, so these different chapters of this textbook. I would highly recommend that you come into this course with R knowledge already. It will really help you out and make things a lot easier and smoother because we're going to be going at a pretty fast pace with R, but completely manageable for a graduate student or an aspiring undergraduate student. So I tried to do the best that I can at explaining all of the coding practices, and after getting through this course, you'll be confident in coding in R by yourself, applying these concepts to projects of your own, and creating publication quality visualizations and plots and images, and you'll be able to put the understanding and being able to code in R on a resume, which can be really helpful. So if you do not have any R training, I would highly recommend running through my Intro to R course. It's roughly 1 credit worth of material, but if you can run through it and run through getting started, downloading R and everything, it's a free piece of software, running through the definitions and rules, going through coding fundamentals, basic R scripts, scientific R scripts, time series data, raster visualization, reprojecting and writing. All of these concepts are really important and serve as a foundation for the more advanced topics that we'll get into from chapters 10 to 19. So, and for those of you who did take Intro to R or do have an R background, you always have this more introductory material here to reference and as a guide in case you forget something. And I can say that for myself, I will often go back to the intro material just to brush things up, or sometimes you have a question, you just forget something that in hindsight is rather simple, but you might not remember it at the time. So you always have the more introductory material and definitions right at your disposal right here. So the concept of the course, both courses, is rather simple. Run through the tutorials. We do 1 chapter per week. Run through the tutorials and complete the assignment. At the bottom of the tutorial, follow the instructions, complete the assignment, and submit what is required to University of Delaware Canvas. I'm in the process of creating a Canvas landing page for both courses, and that is where you will submit your, in this case, all I want is a plot. All I want is this particular plot right here and this plot right here. So you're going to submit those plots in. And yeah, that's all I need. Other times I will ask for your code, But I think that most of the time, all that I really care about is the plot. Because if you can create the plot, you know how to code. So in this case, I'm asking you to save your plots, attach them to a document, and answer these questions down here. Submit the document to Canvas, and there's some extra credit opportunities along the way. But it's pretty simple. Follow along with the tutorials and complete the assignments. Submit the assignments to University of Delaware Canvas. The same can be said for the investigative spatial programming, which has become machine learning with R section. So, once again, nothing too crazy. In the week one, we're just kind of covering some topics. There is no assignment, and then we actually have a combined. These are a bit more lengthy and more challenging tutorials, so we only have 2 tutorials for machine learning and then 2 assignments, but they'll take you a little bit longer than some of the other chapters in Advanced R. So these are going to be challenging but worthwhile, and you'll be able to apply some of these concepts to your own research endeavors, which is cool. So that pretty much wraps things up. The last thing that I'll mention is that we have all of these chapters here, and the Advanced R section for spatial analysis and visualization covers a lot more of the book, so it's 10 through 16. I will say that there is, for the spatial analysis and visualization, the 2-credit section, there is a project. So after you get through 16, I ask you to do a project, and I give you 2 weeks to do the project. And the project link is Advanced R Project. It's right here. So you can open that up, and all that I ask you to do is choose your own data set and kind of run through, try and do some of these different try to do these different tasks using R to demonstrate that you are proficient in R. So you can choose your own data set. That's one option. The second option is to use the data set that I provide right here and run along with that and complete these 6 tasks. And I'm going to require that the Advanced R section of this, the final project, be submitted to Canvas by April 18th, and this is before the 1-credit section begins. There is no project for the 1-credit investigative spatial programming, aka machine learning with R section. There is no project, it's just complete the tutorials. And the tutorials are pretty straightforward, but the concepts are seem a little bit foreign at first if you're not familiar with machine learning, and that's why we offer a little bit more time to run through these and just sort of try to absorb the concepts and take a little bit more time. So, yeah, and the last thing that I'll say for this introductory video is that obviously we're not meeting in person this semester, so there are online meeting times, and those are basically they're Zoom calls, and it's really just for general questions. It is not mandatory by any means. There is no mandatory meeting whatsoever. You are completely free to run through the tutorials, complete the assignments without ever dropping in on one of these Zoom calls. But if you have any general questions for the good of the group, please drop in, ask your questions in the time period, and last resort, shoot me an email if you need to. The only other thing that I'll say is I do encourage working together. So if you are struggling and you have a colleague that is taking the course as well, or a peer, please discuss with them too. I don't care if you work together. It's a collaborative process. Oftentimes, one thing that might hang you up in coding is not hanging somebody else up, and vice versa. So you can work together to sort of understand this puzzle and learn and understand the code. So feel free to work together as much as possible. The only thing that I ask that you do not work together on is the final project in the Advanced R section. So that concludes everything. I will send out an email with a little bit more instruction and just more of a just text guide with some links, and you'll have all the links that you can bookmark and proceed with and access at your leisure.